Hi everyone, I'm Leilani. I work at Covalent, and thank you for joining us for this Women in Web3 Q&A. So whether or not you've been following us for a while or you just landed on this video, hopefully this will answer some of your questions as a female going to EthDenver, but also any other hackathon event or Web3 event. A lot of these questions are kind of general in terms of what to expect, and maybe just addressing some of how it can be a little bit intimidating to fly across the country, stay in a hotel, and go to a venue where there's thousands of people if you don't know anybody. So anyway, hoping to not stress you out, but just answer some questions that we've received from girls in the community, or that maybe we've just seen coming up again and again, and put your minds at ease. So first of all, I'm going to give a little bit of a background to this video. We received some great feedback, I think a few months ago at ETH India, which was another hackathon that took place in India, focused on development in Web3. And we had some women attend that event that were friends with a close organization who submitted some great feedback on their experience. And for context, their experience levels ranged from like 2 months into this space to multiple years, anywhere from just curious about Web3, learning about the hackathon, attending just to basically soak it all in, versus actual female founders and people that are maintaining really established projects. So it was great to get a variety of feedback, and they all basically said the same thing, which is something that can make this space even more inclusive, besides everybody being friendly and welcoming, which in my experience they are. But it's really about having females speak out on a platform. So whether or not they're in panels or they're leading workshops or they're actually founding companies that then sponsor other women to maybe go to events, it's helpful for women to make those really big contributions. Of course, all of the really friendly, awesome, kind of smaller contributions online where people tag each other in groups, add each other to communities, that's awesome too. But to really accelerate somebody's career, it's also great to see internship opportunities and things like that. So that was kind of most of their feedback, which I thought was really interesting. And one of the ways that we took that to heart was just to do a quick Q&A to maybe help out women that are going to EthDenver for the first time. Or maybe it's not your first time, but EthDenver is a really big event and it can be quite daunting. So we just decided to take a couple questions and really focus on females in this space. So yeah, let's give a little bit of a background on EthDenver. It is the largest and longest running ETH event in the world. So it's really huge. Somebody that has been really fortunate to go in the past, I really was overwhelmed the first time. Thousands of people in this venue, really loud because everybody's asking questions, sponsors and swag everywhere, crazy events. Like the whole thing is a really energy intensive week. The whole event goes from February 24th to March 5th, but there's kind of different chunks to cater to different people's interests or use cases there. So the core event, and that's like the building portion if you are a hacker, is March 2nd to 5th. Myself and some of the Covalent team is going to be going February 28th to 5th, so for a whole week, and I know that's kind of a common itinerary. And then there's also a mountain retreat after EthDenver for anybody that likes to ski or snowboard or just be around the mountains in Colorado. A lot of people stay after the conference and do that too. So, and then International Women's Day is March 8th, hence, this whole video happening. So, yeah, we got a bunch of cool questions for how to succeed or kind of curiosities about EthDenver, but as I mentioned before, these apply to like any other hackathon or event. So you don't need to be anyone in particular to watch this video. You don't need to be a developer. You don't need to be whatever else. Like if you're just going to soak it all in, or a founder, for instance, going to get funding, these are kind of just like general Q&A and tips. So let's get into it. Okay. One of the first questions was, where do people stay during EthDenver? So yeah, there's a mix. A lot of individuals opt for hotels that are just close to the venue. So if you Google Maps it and you try to book you really want to do that early, so maybe by the time that this video is aired, that might not be an option anymore. But the other really common thing is, aside from hotels, either companies or DAOs or any sort of online communities stay in Airbnbs together, and you can get on those pretty late, oh my god, pretty last minute as well. And that is kind of a central theme of this video, is that community, any sort of community that you can join, is really, really helpful when it comes to going to events. So whether or not it's like a DAO, like a decentralized organization, or just a Discord, or maybe you're a part of like an ambassador community of a company that you're following, any sort of online chats that you can be part of would be really great to check those out now, because surrounding events, there's a bunch of information that gets passed through there, and there's people sharing like where they're staying. Obviously, you know, if you're a woman, you probably want to like stay with other women, unless you're really like good at doing your due diligence and you're not scared of that. But just take safety precautions. Maybe don't meet up with like complete strangers on the internet, but it's nice if you have interacted with these people a few times, or you trust them, or they're community members that you're familiar with. So yeah, Airbnbs are popular, hotels are also popular. Just keep in mind that it is cold in Denver. The last time I was there, it snowed, and what that meant was that all of the Ubers like had surge pricing for pretty much the entire time, so it ended up being really expensive to get to and from the venue. So being close is really going to help you out. Okay, second question. These aren't in any particular order, but I like this question, is what do people wear, or what's like good outfit advice kind of for EthDenver? So it's a pretty casual atmosphere. I would say the things that most people are wearing are like jeans or casual pants and actual blockchain or Web3 t-shirts, like graphic tees or past swag from other events, or swag from this event that they just get on the first day and wear throughout the conference. So that's like, I don't know, 80%, 90% of people are kind of just going that route. What is important to mention is footwear, because it's a long conference, it's multiple days, and it's busy and it's tiring. So definitely I would suggest wearing comfortable shoes. Pretty much everyone I know suggests wearing comfortable shoes. And that also can kind of apply to side events too. Even if you're going to evening events, most of the time the dress code is pretty casual, or there isn't really one. A lot of people go straight from the conference to whatever events they're going to, unless maybe you have like a VIP speaker type of dinner, in which case you could dress up a bit. I really like to dress up, so I always bring options, but then I have to check a bag and it's a hassle. So yeah, I'd recommend keeping it pretty casual, and some tips that I've seen other girls suggest is just to bring like a cool blazer, like a colorful or funky blazer that they can put on top of whatever outfit and just like quickly elevate it a little bit. I think that's a really great idea. So accessorize, but be comfortable. Either way, there's going to be like all types of outfits, people in weird mascots and astronaut suits and whatever. So it's like you really don't have to worry about feeling uncomfortable no matter what you do. Okay, another question is, what's the best time to arrive at EthDenver? So as I mentioned, because it's quite a long event, and there's multiple days and things going on, some people might just come for the core event, so that's just the 2nd to 5th, a few days at the end, if they're really just focused on getting in, hacking, getting out. But other people might want to be around for all the festivities. There's kind of like adjacent events that go on the whole week, in which case February 28th is when the Covalent team's going. You have the 28th to the 5th, and that's like a nice week. And I think that's pretty standard, so I'd recommend that because you have a little bit of time to settle in before everything really ramps up, get your bearings, and also just experience some of the city. There's definitely events all of those days, so don't worry about having nothing to do if you get there early, because you will have things to do. Where is a good place to work during the event? So if you are hacking, and if you are wanting kind of more of a quiet environment, sometimes the main venue isn't the best place to do that, just because that's where a lot of the buzz is. literally thousands of people are going to be there. And while in the past there can be like, there was upper levels kind of the building or rooms that are quieter for people to work in, if that's not ideal for you, what I recommend, and I've seen a lot of people do this, is check out different blockchain protocols, like Polygon or Avalanche or ones like that. They typically have their own sort of like mini hacker house or their own sort of agenda for the whole week where they actually rent a space for hackers to come and build. So I don't really think I don't think they're that restricted. I'm not really sure. You probably want to check up on like their actual rules for getting in, but in my experience, I've pretty much walked into those. And they have snacks and coffee and their own workshops typically going on, and they also have a lot of quieter areas to work, and I definitely see a lot of developers with their laptops open that just hang out in those places all day, and you can take in some really great talks and stuff while you're there too. So I'll also link, by the way, a spreadsheet to some of the events that are going on, so you can check out all of the kind of like side events. Actually, that leads me to my next question. So let's talk about events. How do you decide on events? How do you find events? Things like that. So events, there's a lot going on throughout the entire week. I know I've probably said that like 8 times, but really there's a lot going on. And actually what can be overwhelming is just to decide which things to spend your time on, because you're like going to be triple booked. You can't be everywhere at once. So on the EthDenver website, they'll have agendas for all of the main stage sort of speaking and like side stages and things like that going on throughout the day. But as I mentioned, a lot of big companies in Web3 will also have their own things going on off-site, maybe at their own locations. So it is worth it to do your research as much as you can before you go, like even just a week before you go. Just try to check out what some of those things are. Twitter is a really great place to just learn about everything if you follow those protocols. If you don't, or other ways that you can do it is, again, going back to community, like joining any sort of Discord or DAO or Telegram chats, any sort of kind of like group chats where people are posting links to events and actually talking about them, so you can kind of see which type of people are going to want to go to this thing, which type of people are going to want to go to this thing, can kind of help you narrow it down. And that way you're not researching like every new company that you see and what they are and what they do and what the event is, unless you want to and you have time for that, but it can be a little bit overwhelming. So yeah, Discord, Telegram, and if you have any friends in Web3 or you just make friends in Web3, you can DM me or anybody else on the Covalent team. They can also just help you with answering like which ones they're excited about. But I'd really recommend that you get into a Discord of any kind that suits your interest, even the EthDenver Discord, before the event, because that's where all of the talking is going to take place, and that'll be just super helpful on like deciding where to prioritize your time. So yeah, okay, the sleeping situation in terms of like, do people sleep at EthDenver? So there's a mix. Like I've definitely seen people where maybe they're hacking and they take a couple days or a day to decide on what they're going to build, and the more you kind of take to decide and get your team organized and like figure it out, the more you have crunch time at the end where maybe you're like rushing to complete your project. And I've definitely seen people stay up all night and do something like that. If you're an all-nighter type of person, go for it. I've also seen a lot of people be up late simply because there's a lot of great events happening. There are parties that go until like midnight or 2 a.m. But my suggestion and all that would be to try to take care of yourself by drinking a lot of water, because if you're actually there for 7 days, even just 3 or 4 days, it's a lot of talking, it's loud. Anywhere in the main venue, you're probably going to be like sort of yelling. And there's also coffee stands everywhere, but just be mindful of that, because each time you're also going to be having coffee, it's kind of dehydrating you more. So just really like keep in mind your water consumption, really try to do that. And, you know, vitamins. I know people that have like little immune boosters that they bring with them and things like that. As well as just be cautious or like conscious of your voice, I guess. Watch how much you're yelling, speaking, screaming, because definitely, I myself have lost my voice in the past. I know people that have lost their voice. So just think about that. If you're going to be there for the long haul, you can't like go out all at once. You have to pace yourself. Another question is how to get swag, or like what the swag situation is at EthDenver. So this is a huge event for swag. From what I've seen, pretty much all of the sponsors in the venue, the main venue has like booths all around of the different projects and companies that are showcasing their product. You can ask them questions about what to build or how to build with their product or what their bounties are. That's where all of the main kind of activity is. And they also give out a lot of swag. So a lot of the time that's just like a table full of t-shirts and pens and coffee cups or whatever it is. Sometimes they'll also have higher quality swag. We'll have like giveaways or enter to win type of situation, which I think we might be doing some of that this year, so stay tuned. But what I'd recommend is if you do want to make EthDenver swag your entire wardrobe, it's definitely possible. I would try to go early, both in terms of the days and the time of day. So if you can get there on the first day, obviously you'll have first pick of everything, and if you can get there early, that's a great time to like literally bring a tote bag and grab everything you want if you are trying to do that. I'll also say if you are not probably going to wear that stuff, then be cautious because it could like fill up your suitcase and sit in your closet for a year. So there's like the type of people who will really enjoy it and use it all the time, and if that's you, make the most of it because there's a ton. But if that's not you, then like really pick and choose. Don't like go for everything all at once. I myself have like had to donate a lot of things in the past that I thought I was going to wear that I never did. So that's a swag situation. And one of the last questions that we'll cover today is just judging. So if you are hacking and submitting a project, there's different ways that you can stand out or do that. So there's some general guidelines when you submit a project. I think EthDenver specifies like their general guidelines, or they give you some sort of information in the opening ceremonies. But then there's often also like kind of additional tips or guidelines from each of the sponsors that are offering a bounty. And so if you are wanting to build with a specific product, like the Covalent API, for instance, we would have our own kind of set of criteria or tips to help you succeed and stand out even more. So it's really worth going to the sponsor booths to talk to the people that you're building with. Really, really worth it because they'll give you a bunch of tips. Definitely don't be scared to talk to them. They're literally, that's their whole job. That's what I'm going to be doing. We're there to talk to you and to make your life easier. So typically the types of things that you'll want to keep in mind is the cleanliness of your code, like how well you build your project, obviously. Another big one is if there's a working front end, so if you can really have something to demo that people can actually see how the application works. The complexity in terms of how you integrated the product that the bounty is for. So if it's Covalent, for instance, we'll look at the number of our endpoints that you use rather than using the same endpoint in kind of a simplistic way. Did you get the data in a more interesting way, or did you make use of different endpoints, things like that? We'll share a full list of our criteria as well closer to the event, so you can check that out. But I would just take the time to, if you're going for those big bounties, really understand what's gonna stand out to them. And then my specific advice is to put yourself in the position of a judge. So I actually have been a judge the last time we were at EthDenver, and from my perspective, it's amazing to see what everybody's building, but there is a lot of people that you're going to see in a short amount of time. And so being able to go back and check on those projects and look at a really clear explanation and good like working links of everything is super, super helpful to make judges be able to see the value in your project really quickly. So the last thing you want is for them to be like scrambling to understand what it is, what it does, where you use them. Just try to make that part easy if you can. And then try to also have a good pitch if you do that like pitch session on the last day where you go around and talk to the sponsors. Just be yourself and make it clear why this is interesting to you, what kind of problem it solves, and try to like sort of sum up the project in a couple different ways, or like in a couple sentences, because those are the things that are memorable. Is if you can quickly describe it to somebody, they can quickly describe it to somebody else. I know it can be really challenging with some of that stuff, but at the end of the day, if there's a lot of really good projects, that could be the difference in you winning more. So yeah, that's just a couple questions, kind of like an overview of EthDenver. And now I'm going to just touch on Covalent's involvement and where you can find us and the kind of things that we're doing if you're curious about it. So I think 7 or 8 people from Covalent will be on site for EthDenver, which is really exciting, myself included. So if you want to DM me or come to the booth and chat with me when I'm there, please do. We are going to be doing some swag giveaways, but I think they're going to be more like a enter to win situation. We're doing a little bit higher quality swag and some kind of exclusive stuff. So the best way to stay up to date on everything is to follow us on Twitter to just see what we're doing, and we'll be live tweeting when we're there as well. We'll also have some fun activities at the booth. I think we have a really big booth this year, so please come check it out because it'll be fun. I'm not going to release what all of those are because I don't even think we've decided on every single thing, but I know we're going to be doing, we're going to have a really big Jenga, I think, which is going to be one of them, and a couple other just fun games. So if you're into that, come check it out. And in terms of our bounties, we are going to be giving away to 10 winners $1,000 bounties. So the top 10 projects built with Covalent are eligible to win $1,000 each. And check out our criteria that we'll post for like a detailed view of how to win and succeed with Covalent, and also come talk to us in order to do that. I think that's everything. So yeah, I'll post that list of events. Definitely leading up to the event, just try to be as involved as possible if you want to really like make the most of it. You'll get out of it what you put into it. So don't be afraid to just like DM people, make friends, ask what they're going to, ask anyone that works at the companies that are going, like tips and tricks, anything like that. Just be confident and it'll work out. The Web3 community is very welcoming, and I think the energy is going to be great at this. And of course, don't be shy at all to message anyone from Covalent if you have more questions. And yeah, I hope you have a great hackathon. If you're not going to EthDenver, but you just wanted some general tips, I hope that was also helpful. And feel free to stay in touch with us on other platforms. So thanks for watching, and yeah, we'll see you next time, hopefully in person.